Delighted to be joined yet again by the wonderful Errol Musk, who may or may not live to a 250. That's what we looked at last time. So you've been talking last time about these longevity clinics and things like that. How long have they been going? And you talked about them needing to start at the age of 14 to get people's genomes and stuff like that. How long have these clinics been going on for?
How long have they existed?
Yeah.
How long have they been? Well, I think it's all become quite a new thing. I don't think there was talk of it, 10 years ago. I'm not sure when the Craig Venter, this founder of this company that I was with, I thought I was being very clever, saying, I know that Craig Venter, and then all of a sudden he said, "Oh, he's our founder. Here he is." but yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it was that long ago that he actually mapped the genome, the first human complete map of the genome. And it's a relatively new thing. And the impression I gain is that it won't be long before insurance companies and such like will get involved, and say that, in the past, for example, if you applied for life insurance or something to that effect, you were and also if you had certain job applications and so forth, you had to go and get a medical checkup, which was generally pretty basic. I mean, you could basically fool your way through the average medical checkup, if you know what I mean. Do you smoke? No. Okay, doesn't smoke. Do you drink? No. He doesn't drink. And then they get a hell of a good report. Meantime, the guy smokes 2 packs a day, and he drinks a bottle of whiskey every day.
Right.
But now, the insurance companies and such like, I imagine, just and we did talk about it, but we'll be saying, let's get your longevity done, and before we appoint you to this position, and see what you're predisposed to. And it works because obviously there's a large investment sometimes in employing a certain person. And then, you don't want to, you can't play with lives too much, but you don't want that person to, sort of drop dead from something in 2 years, 2 or 3 years, or 4 years down the line, when you've invested in having him go to all sorts of courses and training and all sorts of things,
Well, it does certainly make sense. I mean, that's the great thing about AI, and I speak about it around the world, as you know. I want to put the AI into Britain, and we've got seismic advances in medicine as a result of this, and sharing data. I mean, that's the other big thing, where you can prevent diseases if you get the best minds in the world sharing that data. Obviously, anonymize it as appropriate. But it does raise those economic questions, though. As I say, if you live to 250, you've got to keep on working for a bit longer than the current retirement ages.
Well, it comes back to the age-old thing. What is a man of 80 want most? And that's to be 81.
Yes. Okay.
So I mean, it's very difficult. But what is interesting to me from a sort of layman's point of view, I mean, just an average looking at it sort of as much as I can academically, before the First World War, the average age that a European woman lived to was 39. So the average lifespan of a European woman prior to 1914 was 39. You can go and check that.
Yeah.
Now it's something like 87.
Right.
Which is like more than twice as much. So obviously things have changed.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the ancient texts, they do talk about lifespans which are much longer than what and of course the Bible, had all these people who lived to
1,000
ages of hundreds of years,
Yes.
hundreds of years.
Yes. Yeah.
And it does. It does. It is an interesting topic by any measure. And I listened to Elon talk. And he's 54 this year.
Yes.
And the way he talks is he talks like somebody you'd expect of some sort of kind of weird, 2001 Space Odyssey kind of away or something. I don't know.